We're gonna use advanced Google search, DeepSeek, and Fiverr to make money online by starting a drop servicing online business. Your step one is you want to go to google.com. At the bottom here, click on settings and click on advanced search. Once you do that, you're going to end up on this page. At the very top, you want to type in podcast, and here type in @gmail.com. Here, choose United States and type in @youtube.com here and click advanced search. Now, this is going to give us a lot of leads. And then second step is you want to register a DeepSeek account and go to the top and type in this exact prompt. And you're going to get something exactly very, very similar. And you also want to go onto Fiverr and register an account. So what we're going to do in today's strategy, before we go any further, I actually want to give you a little bit of assurance that I know what I'm talking about. I actually got a school group, school.com/dropservicing. If you join this group, as you can see, nearly 3K members, there is a client wins tab, and people are constantly making money. $900 a month, $2,200. Okay, now that we're back in this strategy. So once you actually do this, you're going to see YouTubers leads who have podcasts, which is absolutely amazing. This is exactly what we're looking for. So with these leads, we're going to try to basically get them interested for video editing for long form videos and video editing for short form videos. Before we go any further, I want to tell you that I've made a lot of money with drop servicing for video editing. If you watch some of my older videos, right, you're going to know that for sure. But you know what? It is very important to know that there are actually still new channels being set up all the time. So you can always find clients, and there's always new supply coming on the market. Look at this one, for example. 2 days ago, they made the last podcast, okay? Somebody has got to be editing these videos, right? Also, what about shorts? Do they have shorts? Yes, seems like they have shorts. By the way, if you work in podcast video editing, there's actually a way to generate these shorts without any video editing. This is done by the software called Wondershare Filmora 14. All you gotta do is download this and then open up the software on your PC. For the aspect ratio, choose 1:1 Instagram, okay? Then you wanna click on this, Smart Short Clips. So AI is going to create us all of this without any video editing. Choose a file that you want to generate some shorts from. 1 minute 23. This is the file, for example, one of my previous videos. You want the duration, let's say 20 to 30 seconds. You want to choose a language, for example, English US. The language of my video is that. Choose educational. In my case, if you're editing a podcast between two people, click video podcast, and then you have a whole range of different templates that you can choose. I'm gonna go, for example, for this one, and just click generate. So let's check out the video that Filmora 14 just made for me.
And be as specific as possible. For example, real estate agent in New York, real estate agent in California, content creator on TikTok, content creator in fashion on Instagram, and things.
As you can see, it adds the subtitles. It's amazing. So all of this is done with AI without me actually having to do any of this. It's all done automatically. So if you want to try Filmora 14, head down to the description of my video and you're going to find a download link. And as you can see, there's a lot of different features that you can try. This is the one we tried right now, Smart Short Clips. You have AI Video Enhancer, AI Video Denoiser, AI Sound Effects, a voice enhancer, and a lot of other things that you can basically try in this software. As you can see, a huge amount of different features. So, like I said, if you want to try Filmora for free, go down to the description of my video. Now, back to the video. Let's look at the country. It should be in the United States. So, it is in Ireland. That's very interesting. You can actually get an email from here. So I show this in quite a lot of my videos. Once you basically confirm the CAPTCHA, you can get an email. But the coolest part in this strategy that even without this, you can basically get these emails. But what we can start doing is we can start collecting our leads. So as your next step, you want to set up a sheet like that. Google leads or YouTube leads. So we've got our very first email, okay? And then we wanna get the URL of this page. So what we're gonna do, right, is we're going to here, we're gonna go here, we're gonna paste that in, and then if you have a name, which is very, very important, brother, if you tried this strategy before or you know about it or whatever, it is super important and it will increase your conversions, your ability to get clients by orders of magnitude. If you just identify the owner's name, one of the host's name, because then you can personalize it. You're going to be able to identify people from just watching the video. So let's actually try to open the video and see. So they're talking about, there are some names there, right? Okay, who is the host and who is actually the person who is in this podcast? We can't tell for sure, but as we see, it's definitely not this guy. This is not the guy, right? And I have a feeling that it's probably going to be one of these two guys, right? So let's just put this name down, okay? And it's going to help us a lot with basically the ability to receive these answers, guys, honestly, because, you know, I showed you 2 or 3 videos ago how I was able to send one email, right? And I got one reply from just one email, guys, okay? So if you want to get these kind of responses, you really have to think about what are you sending. It's not about sending 10,000 emails to random people that are completely untargeted without any names and stuff like that. No, it's about sending 100 emails who are really targeted and getting a few clients from that, okay? That's typically what I do. So let's see where this channel is actually from. Should be from the US. Yes, the channel is from the US. That is amazing. He's got a bunch of videos. As you can see, he's not super active, but still has been uploading a couple of months ago. Let's look at the shorts section as well. He has been uploading on the shorts section as well. Now, the good thing with these podcasts, quite often they'll have their email all over the place. So here we see that the email is actually, even here, we don't have to use the allowance on there. By the way, the coolest part is, right, there is also emails there as well, okay? Now, we can export these emails using DeepSeek. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're going to highlight all of this, Control-C, I'm gonna go to DeepSeek and type in this, and then just paste all of that text. So this now should basically sort out all the emails into columns, and it should be very, very easy for us to literally just copy and paste this information. So I'm showing you how we can do this manually, right? But also using AI, we can do this even quicker. It's so simple, so easy, right? And of course, if you actually go through some of these podcasts, right, and actually research and understand what they're doing, chances are you're going to be able to give them a much more optimized, much more relevant email. So in the email, you can even write a sentence or a few words about what they're doing and how you can help them. So for example, this one as well. Let's actually go here. Again, this is in the UK, but they actually have a lot of these podcasts. They're absolutely crazy. They're putting so much, so much content on there. So now with this in mind, what we can essentially do is we can copy this like that, right? And in theory, it should actually copy like this. So as you can see, this has copied perfectly, exactly as I said it would. Guys, this is absolutely amazing. We want to probably keep like the same size of the font and stuff like that. Okay, so let's actually sort it out. Now, if we delete all these rows, right, then we're going to have a beautiful data sheet that we can use straight away. The only downside of this strategy of using DeepSeek AI to basically export these emails straight away is you're not going to have the names, right? So if I'm actually going on to here, researching, do a little bit of research, right, and finding out at least who the person is, sometimes here they have a name and, stuff like this, then I can also customize that email, and basically it's going to be a lot more customized, a lot more chance that people are actually going to respond. The best thing about this strategy is as you go down to the next page and the next page and the next page, you'll find more and more and more emails, which are all potential clients. By the way, what you can also do, a lot of the people who create these podcasts, they also have an Instagram page, okay? So what you can do is you can actually change this to Instagram, and you're gonna find a lot of emails that way as well. So what we can essentially do, again, is Control A, Control C. On Mac, you have slightly different shortcuts, right? Then go back to DeepSeek and do the same again and paste all of that stuff into here. Now, DeepSeek should give you some leads now from Instagram that we can then hopefully literally just copy over and, increase our potential client list in literally just 1 second. So let's copy that. It'll literally take me a second to do. Right, so we're going back here and we're copying and pasting that. Brother, honestly, this is absolutely incredible. Just look at how many leads I got. By the way, this is slightly different because now he's taking the Instagram URL, not the YouTube URL, because of course now these podcasts may be on YouTube. They may have even audio podcasts, okay? But the point I'm trying to make here is that it doesn't matter, because if they have a podcast and if they have videos on Instagram, we can also help them and make money. What we can offer them is cutting their long form podcasts into short form videos for Instagram, for TikTok, for Facebook, for LinkedIn, okay? That's what you can do once you have leads from Instagram, because on Instagram, there is no long form podcast videos. So you understand, brother, there is two services here, okay? So one service is we're basically taking someone's long form podcasts and just editing them. So we're editing pauses, we're editing when they're preparing something, when they said something inappropriate, or there's an awkward pause or whatever. We're editing that out, right? And also the other strategy is once you have the final long form podcast, we're then chopping it into shorts. Okay, most of these people do exactly the same thing. So these are the two kind of things that these guys basically need. Now, if you've never done any video editing before, right? And if you want to do this as a drop servicing service, so you're basically going to use a supplier and resell the services. So you're going to be talking to these podcast owners, okay, right? These are your potential clients, right? And you're basically going to get suppliers for long form podcast video editing and short form podcast video editing. These suppliers are going to be working for you, right? And once you get the footage from your client, so assuming this is your client, right? They send you 1 hour long footage, right? You then send this to your supplier. The supplier chops it into a nice, long form video. And then he can also do the shorts, or he can just do the long form video editing depending on what the client needs. But the point I'm trying to make is we're basically going to be reselling this. Now, the most of the money is actually in editing the long form podcast video. Now, why is that? Well, that is because it's quite an expensive thing. Why is that? Is because these videos are usually super long. Okay, so if we basically go onto here, let's just say we look at 60 minutes worth of footage. As you can see, this guy is charging $270. Okay, that's a lot, right? Well, of course, this is basically from multiple cameras. He's also going to make a short and a YouTube thumbnail. So this kind of thing is what we want to be reselling to people. Okay, you can also make thumbnails, right? But this is a little bit too rich for my liking. The price is too high. We want to find people who are basically making the same thing at a much, much lower price. So if we go to this one, as you can see, $130. Yes, it doesn't include shorts, it doesn't include thumbnails, but it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper. This is what we want. And this kind of service, we want to be reselling at $250, right? So about twice the cost on here. Plus, you can also offer thumbnail, which you can get on Fiverr for $5. And if you do 2 or 3 shorts, that's another $15. So for a total cost of $150, you can resell it at $250. You're gonna make $100 from just one episode. If they make a lot of these episodes, you can comfortably make $500 profit from just one client per month. This is really realistic because some of these guys are making literally a few podcasts a week, which is absolutely insane. So every single time you're gonna make $100. Now, when it comes to the other thing, like I said, chopping it into shorts, that is also a very good service. A lot of people are doing that. The best thing is, of course, to kind of combine the two. So you get a client for whom you pitch not only the long form podcast editing, but also chopping into shorts and actually creating the thumbnails. That would be the best. But if you do that, then of course, your charge is going to be a lot higher, and it's going to be a bit harder to start working with the client because, the barrier to entry is going to be quite high. So you could even start with actually offering them YouTube shorts, right? And if they like what you've done with your supplier, of course, you're not going to tell that you have a supplier, right? But if you create really nice shorts, right, then you basically can have the trust of them with, them paying you $20 or $30 for a couple of shorts, right? Then you can ask them, okay, who's actually editing your long form videos? Can I help you with that, right? And that is where you make more money on editing these long form podcasts. Like I said, because one podcast, typically you're looking at a profit of about $100, okay? Thumbnails, you're not going to really make profit here because you're probably going to just include it in the overall cost. For shorts, if somebody wants just shorts, then what you essentially want to do, right, is you want to find a supplier who's going to do this at around 10 to 15 bucks, okay? Because, what you essentially need is you need a supplier who's going to watch the entire video, find the cool parts, and then crop them out and do a little bit of editing with some text on there, these subtitles and stuff like that. It's not really that difficult, but this costs a little bit more than just editing a traditional short because they actually have to watch the whole video to understand which are the interesting parts. So it takes a little bit longer time of just editing these shorts. Now, once you do that, imagine that somebody wants just the shorts. So they don't want the long form video editing of their podcast. They just want the shorts. You can actually go onto here, right, to understand what are the prices of that. And I can tell, I already know the prices because I'm on Fiverr all the time. But typically, you can get it for about $10 to $15. Because like I said, those editors need to watch the podcast. So they're not going to do it at $5. It's going to be around $15. And then what you essentially can do is, if you get one of these guys to work with you, right, you can say, okay, so from one long form video of, let's say, 1 hour, I can create you 5 shorts. Each short is going to cost you, let's say, $25, right? So $125 is going to be your cost for me making you 5 shorts that you can upload on YouTube Shorts, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and stuff like that. With that in mind, as you can see in some of these listings, right, like I said, it's going to be 10 to 15 bucks. So you're making 10 bucks profit more or less from one short. That's 5 shorts in one cycle. Let's say in 1 week, you're making $50. So $10 per short is your profit times 5, $50 in 1 week, okay? If you do this for the full month, that's about $200 a month. This is, of course, the basic rate. Brother, I'm talking about like beginner level video editing for these shorts. Now, if you actually work with some really large podcast channels that have, hundreds, if not, millions, hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers, you can pitch this at a much higher, price. But of course, then they will expect you to deliver very, very high quality. Now, typically, what I know from, speaking to other YouTube channel owners, also speaking to different video editors, and also editing and working with some really, really big channels, typically, if you find a large podcast, so let's say Podcast USA, let's just find a random podcast, not a huge one, but, something that is in, 200K subs or something like that. Let's say this one, right? So something like this, right, with 160K subscribers and pulling in, pretty normal views, right? 10K, stuff like that, is probably going to be able to pay you, I would say about, something like $500 up to $700-800 a month for this kind of video editing. Now, if we find a much bigger, much bigger channel that is basically creating, let's say, no, this one is too big, okay? Let's go for something slightly smaller. Okay, so let's look into, for example, let's go down. Okay, so let's go down. I want to find something that would be around 500,000 subs, and the views would be not too crazy. Okay, so let's go down. Yeah, something like this. Okay, something like this. So it's basically Dr. Phil's podcast, 400,000 subscribers. As you can see, he's pulling in pretty good views as well. Some videos 20k, 16k, 40k, and stuff like that. Now, this kind of channel, especially in the United States as well, right? This kind of bigger channels are likely to be paying you from 2k to 3k a month. That is realistic. Now, if you have 50% margin, as I said, most of these kind of things, you're gonna outsource it to these freelancers, right? So you're basically going to need to pay them, and the profit that leaves for you is gonna be, like I said, about 50%. So from about 2 to 3 grand, you're looking at 1,000 to 1,500 profit a month if you're working with these bigger podcasts. With smaller podcasts, you're looking honestly at around 500, 600, that kind of level a month max. That is the profit. But if you get 10 clients of $500, you're going to be making 5 grand of profit. As your next step is now, this is where we come to the message. This message has been battle tested. Okay, a lot of people have used it. This template I've created, it's an updated template as well. So here's what you want to put in your subject: partnership proposal for your podcast. Okay, this is going to be very effective because we put podcast in your podcast, so people will actually are likely to open this email. Now, hey, do you need a video editor for your podcast? See my example video. Now, in this example video, you're going to need to actually talk to these suppliers, right? And ask them if you can use their portfolio. Because obviously, without any portfolio, right, in here, you're just not going to get any clients. That's just the reality, okay? So how you can get these portfolios, like I said, you can basically contact this guy and say, look, I have a lot of clients that want, that want video editing services for shorts, for long form, can I actually use your portfolio to show to my clients? If I get orders, I'm going to come back to you. If you do that, most people will say yes. If you actually just ask, can I use your portfolio? Nobody's going to agree. Honestly, that's just the reality. So with that in mind, once you actually, once these guys send you some of their portfolios, you want to upload it on YouTube, create a YouTube channel of your own, okay? You upload it there as unlisted or private video that you can then send to your clients, and you can actually put it in here. So you just want something like that, just an example like this. So let's look at it.
Now, this app isn't just convenient, it's genius.
It's got to be good video editing. It's got to have all these subtitles and stuff like that. This is, by the way, the channel that I created for this portfolio. You want something like this. So just put a YouTube logo or something, add your name, UGC agency or video editing agency and stuff like that. And then as you can see, everything is hidden. So the reason why we do that is we don't want these suppliers finding out their content all over the place, right? So it's going to be super private and only visible to those people who have this link. And then finally, if you like my example video and you want to increase your views, I can become your editor too. So this is a very, very good strategy to make money online because, like I said, it's a tested strategy. I've actually made money by editing videos for large and medium-sized YouTube channels with this exact strategy. So did a lot of other people as well in my community. So you want to also copy the subject. And now we're actually going to go back to our leads list, right? And copy the first lead. We're going to put it into here, right? And then as you see, we basically have a name. Since we have a name, it's very good to actually personalize. So, hey, Rian, do you need a video editor for a podcast? See my example video. This looks absolutely awesome. Okay, all I need to do now is just click send. So let's view the message. That's how it looks for the guy. There is a portfolio there. It's just a single link to a YouTube short, okay, to my channel, just like this, okay? So this has got to be your portfolio, okay? You can also link it to a playlist which has multiple shorts on there, maybe some long form videos. You can do that, but do not have more than one link. Do not have more than one link. This is very, very bad. Sometimes people do this. Oh, I have this example video, this example video, this example video. If you like it, reply to me. No, nobody's gonna do that. You want just one link. It's gotta be super simple, so when people see it, they can skim through the email and just click on that link, and it's gotta go onto YouTube. Do not add Google Drive, Mega, and stuff like this. No hosting sites. It's got to go straight to Google, so people are not afraid on actually clicking on these links. So I hope that this strategy was super useful for you. If you want to learn how to make money online using drop servicing, you must join my school group community, school.com/drop servicing. Join it, right? There's a lot of discussions happening here, every single day. We've got nearly 2,000 posts in here in the last year, which is absolutely mental. And if you want to learn directly from me how to make money online with drop servicing, and if you want to make money like these guys are making in my community, I actually got a 3 months drop servicing mentorship. In the mentorship, I will teach you for 3 months using video calls, how to start drop servicing, how to choose your niche, how to find your first clients, how to position yourself, how much to charge, how to talk to clients, and all that kind of thing. Exactly what I've learned myself of doing this drop servicing business for over 5 years. If you're interested in that, you can apply using the email that you see in one of these corners. Thanks for watching this video. Drop a like, subscribe to my channel, and watch this playlist next.